I think I'm live now. So switch the branding here. Brand. We'll put this logo up. Actually, I should put this logo up because I'll mention we've got a lot more content on the new business technicality challenges and business challenges that we're covering on business technicalities. That is my new channel where all of my business content's going, and we've been publishing more and more there. It's been ramping up, and people who are wondering where the business content went, it's all on there. It is linked in the description below. I'm about to do some more pushing of that channel, so to speak, just some, mentioning to people. I knew people didn't want it on this channel, all the business stuff, but there's enough people that viewed that content that I wandered it all over to the other channel, and got some friends to help me out and get it published faster. So that's where that is. This is what episode are we on? I've lost track of what I was doing here in terms of numbers. I usually have that pulled up ahead of time, but I was outside looking at my yard because I have landscapers redoing my yard. So I was distracted, like, oh yeah, I got to go downstairs, do a live stream. So 282, we're going to talk about some UniFi stuff and everything else. So let me catch up with some of the comments here, and let me switch the brand back to the Lawrence Systems logo up here, as if, the business technicalities one, if you didn't notice, we have this sports theme. By the way, I don't do sports, but I know enough people do that. We just thought it was fun to theme it that way, for no other reason than amusement. So, oh, let's see. Afternoon. See, you got Cody, first one chiming in here. Travis, how you doing? Chris, Simon, Tobiah, I think is how we say that name. Simon, all right. So I'm just working on a 2.5 gig Intel 5105. I'm going to make into a VM Psense and a Docker Pi-hole Proxmox. All right, lots of fun stuff there. UNVR hit RMA a month, replaced, finally shipped. Help us to get back. Oh yeah, I've had a couple people say they died, and it takes a long time to get another one. Yeah, that's probably a problem. Do I plan on doing a video on teleport? No. Christian Lumpa, that IT Life, did a great video on it. I can't improve upon it. I can't offer any other insight into it. It's a good product if you like using it. The problem I have, it's not specifically with teleport, it's that genre of some of those tools, is loading an agent. I don't feel like setting up an agent for everything on there. Do I think it's a good product though? Yes, I think teleport's a cool product. So, and I'll pull it up for people that haven't heard of teleport. They're pretty slick, and matter of fact, here they have naming that doesn't make it easy. But we'll share both of these over here. So pull up the sharing now. Share screen, Chrome tab. So this is teleport, and I'll throw the link in here too. It's just goteleport.com. It's neat. It's worth mentioning. I will say it's a cool product. Goteleport.com. And the video, and we'll share the video as well in here. It is throwing it in the links here, but it's easy enough to find. The title of the video is How I Secure My Server Access with Teleport for SSH K8s in the Web. And that video is by
if you are managing
that Digital Life. So the Digital Life, not that, the Digital Life. But there's a link I just threw in there. It's cool. It's a great system for it. And yeah, use it if you like it. I didn't feel like loading agents and setting that up on there. That's why I wasn't using it. So if we had a lot more servers to manage that were Linux, like currently we're not really managing much Linux servers outside of our own, so I don't really use it, but we might get into managing more Linux servers for clients. It's just something we don't do a lot of right now, so I don't have that all configured. It's great if you do that, though, if that is something you do. So while we're on that topic, though, there's another tool called, and we'll pull it up real quick. That way you can, if you're looking at tools that do the same thing or a competitor for teleport, there's actually another one called Rport. And the URL for that is rport.io. And there we go. So there's the rport if you're looking for something that's a competitor of teleport. So they handle things differently, but in a way the same, where you set up agents and manage your SSH that way. They're both good tools, especially if you're a someone who manages a lot of Linux servers and you need to track all the different things that are being done by different technicians. We facilitate that all through our Ninja RMM. That's why we don't use something else to do it, because when Ninja RMM, most of what we're doing is handling Windows servers and clients for people more than anything else. So we still use our Ninja RMM for that. Do you plan to do any videos on Pop! OS 24 shortcuts, tips, and tricks? Not really. I let Jay cover that. It's not something I'm as good at, so it's not high on my list to do. I don't think about it as much. Like, I know the shortcuts and tips and tricks, so to speak, but they're all just the same ones I'm using that are on their website. And Jay's more of the power user than me. I mean, I use it every day. It's all I use is Linux, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do an updated Linux video. They don't get a lot of user engagement overall, so I don't. For the effort I put into them, you kind of look at the return on it, going, "Did people like this video?" The last couple times I've done these, they don't always get the best engagement. So Net Data does on the other stuff. Yeah, it's written. Net Data is great. That's one I did that video because that's definitely a great thing. So yeah. Does Tailscale and Zero Tier have their own agents? Yes, they do. Those have agents as well. Rport does have some Windows support. I haven't tried Rport. It's just another one I was looking at because people asked about it. I'm actually surprised that maybe I should reach out. I'm friends with Christian, who runs the Digital Life, but one of the things about it is this is made in Germany, and so is he. So both being from Germany, it's like we didn't choose this one. But yeah, I believe this has some Windows support to features. Remote desktop, telnet. I believe it has a Windows agent too. I want to look at it because I believe this has a way. This has a couple of use cases that I want to look at that is more than teleport. One of them is I'm almost positive it supports Windows. Their website's kind of vague. Like, you got to look at the demos, not the website, because the website doesn't have. Let's look. Let's look at their knowledge base. It's all 2FA, renaming or tagging of clients. Well, they're showing Linux. Does it show anything about Windows? I thought that's what it did, though. Client configuration, supervisor OS. Using the API. Well, I remember seeing a demo that someone else did. You can find someone else has a video on there. But yeah. So maybe. I think it does, but I don't know. It's clearly not, unless I'm overlooking. It's not like right on top of their website. Like, hey, here's what we support, Windows and things like that. For whatever reasons, I don't know. That's the problem some of these have. They're not always the best documenting what they offer. Browser-based remote desktop, user and group management. Yeah, but what clients support? FAQ. Oh, operating. Our port clients need remote access. Runs on any Windows, Linux OS, so it's under the FAQ. So yes, there we go. We can confirm our port does indeed support it. You're using Windows 10, open multiple terminals, run commands. What is the proper way to run multiple terminals, execute same command on Pop! OS? I do everything with the bash terminal. So I use tmux and just the bash terminal. So to me, that's fine. I don't, when I quit using Windows over 10 years ago. So I don't really know what all, but I don't really, yeah, I don't know what else. As far as Windows, well, actually, I take that back. A couple of my staff use Windows also have Windows subsystem for Linux, so they're just using a bash prompt in Windows as well to do things. I hate waiting on background search, even though I know there's nothing. Always scared, and they decide to get off the offer. Hello from England. Cool. Hey, Tom, love the channel. You've been available in getting issues to pfSense. Question, SSPD, MDNS between VLANs. How do you approach this, switch side or pfSense? MDNS is going to be something you want to do with your firewall. So you're going to want to do that with the pfSense. SSH tunneling is very basic remote support tool and it's good. Yeah, SSH tunneling works. I've done videos on it. SSH, when you tie it together with proxies, even better. If you look up proxy chains, I have a video I've done, and I thought about doing, I don't know, I could do a new one. I don't know what more it would add, but look up OXY chains. But yeah, I have a video on proxy chains, so it definitely is a really great way to understand how to use SSH. So SSH jump server and how to pivot using OpenVPN and proxy chains. I got a video on this as well. So I did this one in 2020, so it's a little more recent. When did I do the other one? 3 years ago. So yeah, I've got this video here just talking about how you can pivot using proxy chains. Combine that with your SSH tunneling, life is good. And it's really, once you learn how to set it up, you're like, that's it. There's got to be more commands. Like, no, it's really quick and easy to get set up. You're on the road to quit Windows. Yes. Best of luck on your road to quit Windows. What's better alternative to Ansible? As Ansible needs Python installed in the client to SSH connect to. The client doesn't, it depends on what you're doing. I'm not the best Ansible guy, but you can just use Ansible to connect and push commands without it being fully set up on every client. You can just, yeah, I'm not going to dive into Ansible. I'm not the best at Ansible. I have like a couple templates I set up when I want things to be done in a certain way, and I'll push it out through Ansible. But you can actually not have Python installed. You can say, connect to this client. Here's a list of commands to SSH in and run on a client. That's it. Matter of fact, if you use even your SSH config, you can push commands based on what's in your SSH config file there. It works the same way with Ansible. So you don't, yeah, it's just an easy way to send commands over. So you can actually just build config files for it. Hello from Germany. A salt stack is I believe, from what I understand, I have not used SaltStack. A few people said it has a lot of features, but it is even more complicated than Ansible. Ansible, my understanding, would be easier to do. So you talked me into pfSense. I've been waiting for over a month for 1537 4-port SPA ship. Tried emailing sales for an update. Nothing. Anywhere else I can reach for status check? No. Just call them. They have I believe they have a phone number. I haven't seen them take that long to ship the bigger models. I don't know what their stock is on those at the moment you ordered, but generally, I mean, they're good at giving updates on when they'll ship because we order a lot of them. Have you gotten into mobile device management? Oddly, no. Lack of demand for it. So, and by the way, it's most of the time, like Apple's offering their mobile device management. If you're a G Suite user, G Suite has their mobile device management. It's not something we get a ton of requests for. Have you heard of Vlan hopping becoming a real problem again? But seeing the videos doing Vlan hopping and Cisco products. So yeah, David Bombal just did a video on that. The problem is the way Cisco does things is complex. And if you don't understand how to build the proper trust between the switches, you are able to insert yourself in there. David's got a video on it recently done on VLAN hopping. It's not like it's becoming a problem again. It's always been a problem. When people don't configure things properly, you can VLAN hop. That's the problem. That's it. It's not really like it's a problem as much as if you don't lock down your system properly. And because Cisco's are complicated to do, he shows how to exploit that on a Cisco. I'm not aware of any way to do that on a UniFi. So it's one of those things that, in my opinion, sometimes things that are overly complicated in untrained hands can be quite the problem. And especially if you don't need those extra features that this more complicated product has, start with use case, look at something like UniFi and go, oh, yeah, it's harder to VLAN hopping UniFi because UniFi builds all the trust relationships in a more automated way between the switches and the controller. So you can't inject yourself in between. So, all right. Thanks in advance. Thanks in advance. Our report says login in Windows or RDP anywhere without a so you do have Windows too. Cool. Since I'm in my TrueNAS core scale, my host name isn't updated anymore. My UniFi home anymore happens upgrades as well. Fresh installs. Do you have any ideas? The host name doesn't update it. I don't know why. SaltStack is more enterprisey. Stateful gives you run agent minion on each. Uh, Giving you more audibility. If you're, I know because my friends that are more extensive, Jay from Learn Linux TV being one of them, when it comes to Ansible, you can get complete status and independence and everything with Ansible to confirm each one of the endpoints. There's really advanced things you can do with both. So it really comes down to what you want to do, and I think it just comes down to ideology. And a lot of times people just get adopted in. If you're not the one starting the company, and the company you're going to work as already using one of those tools, you'll probably just continue using it. Security Onion does a great job of using SaltStack to build out all of their sensors and things like that. I believe they use it pretty extensively still. How do you see the future of Ubiquity? Getting tired of waiting for lots of products becoming available, regardless if they're in early access. Uh, they have a bright future. They keep the, we. I was trying to figure out how much we spent last month with Ubiquity. I think it was something like 100,000 last month. I don't know, something like that. We spent a lot of money with Ubiquity. Um, we don't see them slowing down anytime soon. They keep throwing out new products, but they seem to be ramping things up more. They're definitely a fast growing company. There's nothing I really see slowing them down. Supply chain shortages. I mean, Cisco can't hit their sales numbers. That's why Cisco is like 6 months on some products, a year on other products for delivery. So while other companies are struggling to even get product at all, Ubiquity may be trickling out the products, but that's better than not having the product. I saw that video, but didn't understand how to use an attack video. Man in the middle to get in between the trust of the switches. VLAN hop, based on my limited understanding of Cisco from David's video, he was able to inject himself into the trust layer essentially of the switches. But I believe the way you mitigate that is not you lock it down so things can't get in between. He talks about it in a video in better detail than I can cover here. So watch David Bomble's video. That's best. And David Bomble VLAN hopping. You'll find it. He just published it this year. How do people stop VLAN hopping? You're saying devices are default VLAN by default, which is native VLAN. You can't VLAN hop on it, so it's not stopping it by default. You can't do it. I'm not aware of a way to do it. If there was a way to do it, you could collect potentially a bug bounty. If you could prove you could violate the switch port security, they have a bug bounty program. So I'm not aware of any way to do it. Do you have any negative feedback about Sonic Firewall? Sonic Firewalls are hot garbage. Hot garbage in the summer that's my negative feedback. I really dislike Sonic Wall. They don't have the best security. They've been they're just not great to work with at all. They have a great reseller program, so you have all these people saying, "But I make so much money reselling their product and their licenses," and that's why they like them so much better than yeah. How did you set up Synology photos for your phone? Did you use your custom web link or did you set up a VPN? Or are you just not syncing your photos to your phone? I just sync it when I'm at home. So that's I don't sync them when I'm not at home. Exclusively at home. That way I don't have to make it publicly accessible. Simple as that. ACLs present VLAN hopping. I think that's what David said in the video. UniFi switches and WAPs are the best in the business. Not going anywhere. The firewalls, on the other hand, well, yeah, their firewalls are lacking features still. They're getting better, slowly but surely. Sorry for the random question. I installed Openvpn for your videos and OTP based on your videos. My Psense all works, but I think the phone disconnects. Any advice? Yeah, if you use the OTP, there's bugs with it. Using OTP with VPN on the phone, it'll drop. OpenVPN doesn't work as well as WireGuard. WireGuard is what I use on my phone because it works better. Yeah, don't use Excel. They've had a handful of backdoors and just bad security practices over there. So, good afternoon. What's your preferred P2V tool for moving machines to XCPNG? Um, Cloning it or whatever backup software you have. Frequently, it's just whatever backup software. I have this backup software, and you can clone it, and you're done. Pretty simple. Hey, more people saying Sonic walls are horrible. That's pretty negative. Yeah. VLAN hopping when the device strips away the first frame and it's added twice, you can VLAN hop. I mean, you can misconfigure anything if you try hard enough. I used to do more IP tables stuff with Linux firewalls. I don't do it as much anymore. I lock down a Linux system. If it's a server, I lock it down to only what's necessary, principles of least privilege and things like that. But I don't spend a whole lot of time writing a lot of rules. Matter of fact, you just lock it down and you implicitly add only the services it needs. And for example, like one of the servers we have talks to a reverse proxy. So even though it runs a web server, it's only able to talk to the reverse proxy because why does it need to talk to anything else? It doesn't. So just lock everything down. Whatever firewall is built into Linux is usually fine for that. Look at the Synology photos. What I can see, you have to have one of their devices. Do you have a model recommendation for a home user? It really comes down to what size you want. Get a plus model. You can start with the little 2-bay model, and that'll work. If it will the 2-bay model hold enough hard drives for you? You put a pair of 8 terabytes in there or bigger. It comes down to how much storage you need more than anything else and what you want to run on it. If you were to roll your own firewall, do you have hardware you like? Anything when you're rolling your own. I mean, it's nice to get any of those little solid boxes from like Quotom. If you're talking about home labs, not stuff I'll install in production, but yeah, they work. TuneAsk application will not deploy after updating. I have no idea. Hit their forums up. Seems simplest option. Thanks for advice. Also, smash the like button. Much appreciated. PC engines, APU boards. That's what I use for pfSense. I've heard of them. I've never used them. Yeah, there's no OTP for WireGuard because it doesn't do username and password. How effective do you find locking down networks VLANs using ports opposed to other firewalls that use a combo of ports and applications, FortiGate or PA? I mean, I don't understand the question. If you lock the port down and other people can't use it, the port's locked down. It's the lowest thing of attack. Like, read through the reports. How often is that the attack vector, by the way? It's not zero, but it's not as common. That's usually, I mean, if you have a building where you're really worried about physical security, then spend more time thinking about it. But for the most part, the average attack doesn't come in through someone roguely plugging things in. By the way, the other really easy thing to do is all the ports that aren't in use, turn them all off. But that's not how everyone breaks in. That is one of those things that I don't think it's like of zero importance, but there's usually other things that are of much, much higher priority that should be done. it's one of those things I can picture someone bragging about how they have the best port security ever. And you're like, your servers haven't been patched in this long, and you've got like 3 back doors open on them. Oh yeah, that's right. The external threat actors aren't on site; they're remotely in some foreign non-extradition area hacking your systems. uh, Hey Tom, weird question. Can I install Ubuntu on Proxmox? No problem. But if I try XCP ISO, it always ends up with UniFi shell 2.2 screen and mapping table. You're trying to install XCP in Proxmox? I've never tried. I did the opposite. I installed Proxmox and XCP and it worked. But I've never tried the opposite. Is Synology just as good as Google Photos? No, it does not have the object recognition that Google Photos does. No, there's nothing that can beat how good Google is right now because of the amount of data and time they put into their object recognition. But does it work for nice backups of all your personal photos? Yes. Does it still make sense to put printers in our own VLAN? No, most of the time it makes a big headache. And can someone show me where printers have attacked the computers and been like, oh, this entire network is compromised by that HP printer? Usually you're just aggravated by the printers. I'm not saying there's no risk from printers and things like that, but it's not usually the highest risk again versus the headache. It's a convenience thing. I'm not telling you the printers are all safe and always patched, but some of them don't even, the nature of the driver is it doesn't like them on a separate VLAN, even when you try to do bridging. So it comes down. Now, if you get the nice commercial, you go into commercial copiers and things like that, putting those on a separate network's those are themselves computers with often outdated firmware and Linux on them. But you have to think about the lateral movement that gets someone there and pivots them there. If you stop them from getting on the network first, awesome. But how likely are they to use the printer? Yeah, if someone gets on a network, they're going to look for some old, outdated Xerox Kyocera system with a default password of 1234556 and things like that. But if they're on a separate network, you have the other headaches of them being on a separate network. You could also lock them down so they only talk to a specific server and everyone prints to the Windows server and a Windows server spends time communicating, and you can architect it like that too. So when I look at Synology, I prefer the plus models because Plex will stream off the plus models very well. Yes. Nope, I have not used IP tables as a router. Can you restore a Netgate 2000 to a PC running commodity edition like a hot spare? Essentially, yes. I don't think there's any issues. The problem you run into sometimes is there's those switch ports in there, and I think they restore fine to a standard install without an issue. I feel really confident the answer is yes. If you permit 452, for DNS, malware can kind in. Yeah, maybe depends. You need DNS. VXLANs are going away, and Cisco's moving forward with VXLAN. Not really. They're not going away. VXLAN something different. So, is there a 10 gig NIC for OpenSense router that is cheap? I probably look for the Intel ones. The Intel ones are relatively cheap on eBay. How different people attaching random network switch to a network using UniFi devices? Good luck. I think there is. Let me pull it up. I think you can port lock in UniFi. Let me double check. I'll give you the legit answer for it. So if we go over here, I'll throw it up on the screen. And yeah, Mac ID allow list. So you just filter to the Mac that's allowed on there. And it will go nuts if they try to plug another switch into it. So Mac ID allow, that's how you would lock that down. I have not had time to, and David, Cisco sent it to me, not David. David just connected me with the people at Cisco, but it's on my to-do list next week to start testing that. Have I done any on PXC boot? Should I set up a CloneZilla for PXC? No, I haven't touched it in a long time because I just don't use it. So not really on my to-do list either. It's not likely I'll do a PXC video anytime soon. How am I disguising? This is a StreamYard. StreamYard.com is what I use for, in case people are wondering. This software I use for my streaming. Site I use, I should say. When I was audio conference, we would put actual printers on public IPs. Oh yeah. So that's the thing. Here's a fun one. There's a very large, very popular, we know because we have salons using this software that I will leave unnamed. Their solution is to collect the IP addresses of the salons and then have them open ports. And when they're using your web application, the salon prints by sending print jobs over port 515, the line printer port. I think it's 515. Anyways, yeah, they want us to open ports for them. Now we restrict the port to only listen on their IP range from the company with the application, but that's how they print. Instead of printing through their application, they send the print jobs across the public internet. So that's a thing. Yeah. Whatever. I found setting up PC with absolute terrible experience and terrible documentation and software. I set it up a long time ago. If you dig around on my channel, there's probably an old video I have on it, but it's been a minute, and it's all about setting up there's a lot of little parameters to it, and it's just not. I don't know. I just don't have a huge interest in doing it again. You already mentioned, do you have a phone PBX you like or routinely use? We do use free PBX, but from a business standpoint, we don't want to manage free PBX. That is Chris from Crosstalk Solutions' job. That's what he does. Chris from Crosstalk Solutions offers free PBX services. We do offer phone services for clients, but it's a fully managed, expensive system that we put in that we partner with a company to manage. Simple as that. So, because we don't want to manage it. It's a lot of work. How do you do tagging? I'm assuming you're talking about Vlan tagging. That's pretty much, I got videos on how to do it in there, but that's all you gotta do, change VLAN tags in UniFi. They're one of the easiest ones to do. You just define your VLANs. I have videos. If you type in like UniFi VLAN 2022, you'll find I have videos I made this year on that exact topic. Before I forget, I'm working on a thing that I want to share with everyone. And actually, I'm going to share the link with everyone too. So let me file, publish to the web. Let me get you guys a link to this. I am working on some new UniFi videos. And this is what I'm working on. But it's a whole list here of all the different can I zoom on it? It's hard to zoom in on a Google spreadsheet. Sorry, you're gonna have to look at it kind of small for a minute here. Actually, if I did this, would it look better? If we did it this way? Stop it. Go mouse go. I have a slightly broken mouse. I ordered a new one, but it's not here yet. I made a switch list and I made an access point list. And I just shared the link, but it's also linked inside the description of this video. Yes, these are affiliate links, but these are listings so you can understand. And we're keeping this up to date. We're using this internally too, by the way. So my staff is keeping this up to date. We still have to add a few more things in here. But if you want like a comparison of all the switches, this is what that is. So we have them all here. So when people would like a comparison of each of the different models that are offered by UniFi, we're going to keep these all in there. The next thing I'm working on is writing a web scraper, and we're going to actually have the spreadsheet tell you if it's in stock before you click. So I think I can make that happen with a web scraper built into Google Sheets. So there's that. That's going to be kind of fun. But I've linked this down below if anyone's interested in looking at the list. It's web published. I don't know if I'll make the spreadsheet like an embedded thing on my forums, but I'm missing the USX PoE. I'll look and see which ones we're missing on there, and we can add them. Let me look here because I actually think those ones are on here. The Switch 16, Switch 24. Well, tell me what models. There's an accompanying forum post. If you send me which ones are missing on Twitter or whatever, but I'll make this interactive. That way, if you can tell me something I'm missing. But I wanted to mention this. I put this together so people who would like to, you know, get into offering that. Yes. All right, cool. Make sure it wasn't anything too important. But anyways, the other thing we're going to be keeping up on here is when things are end of life, we'll be dropping them off. But we just want to make it an easy list for people to go to and say, all right, here's all the list of things that are on each of these on there. So just really simple. But I'll be doing some getting started with UniFi videos. I have another category to add on there for the different cloud devices and explaining those a little bit and the differences between them, which is not easy. That's a part of it. And I think what you said is right here. I think the USXX ones are older models replaced by USW because I think so too. And this is where I was getting confused on stuff. And I see those at the bottom right here. And I think that's what they are is probably these ones right here that you're referring to. And this is like I have a few different staff who spend a lot more time than me just doing part of this. So they're pulling this information and putting all of it together all the time. And this is like an internal document that I'm going to keep shared externally. So, because it's a lot to keep up with. And, we do it enough. So, yes. But hopefully this will be helpful to someone when they're looking things up. I'm going to make a video on it as well, but it's, that link is in this particular video. So you can click on it now and it automatically, anytime we change something in here, it republishes that public link. So it's dynamic. You can bookmark the link once and it'll always be up to date. And then we're going to embed this on our website with a certain section. That's eventually where it'll live. But the link isn't going to change, just the embedding part will. It's going to be the same. It's all based on the same document. I kind of want to go back to doing some of my Google stuff. I used to do all kinds of hacky things in Google in the early days because not everyone knows you can actually do web scraping with Google, and you can do a lot of fun stuff. Google Sheets has had these features forever. So I want to try and build that in there. It makes it easy because it then builds an auto publishing tool for you at the same time that also can scale, because if a ton of people hit it, it works perfectly fine for that. But enough of the Google hacking stuff. What is UniFi's strength in the market? Their routing products are garbage. Why bother getting their switches? Tons of cheaper switches out there. It's a security quality thing. Easy to manage, free, no license fees. That their claim to fame is they're easy to manage, they're affordable, they're pretty reasonably priced, and you can manage large amounts of them with their free software. And their software, their controller software is multi-tenant. So if you're an IT provider like myself, you can have one instance of the controller and manage, I think we have like 70 different clients in one controller. Being able to have all of your clients in that many clients in one controller, there's not another company that offers that. They don't have a direct competitor without a lot of licensing fees, because you can't even put them in the same category as like Meraki, because the licensing fees are substantial for Meraki for that level of functionality. You should do another sheet for Omada. Not likely. they're confusing. Last time I looked, I don't know if they updated their website, and they don't. They're not as on top of some of the security updates, and their end of lifing of products is not easy to track. So I don't. Yeah. What's the most secure firewall brand you use? I don't know. I don't know that there's any way to objectively say that. Everyone will have an opinion. I don't know if there's any truly objective. This is the best or most secure. So, do you have a video about VLAN tagging and other switches such as TP-Link? I think so. I think I covered it in my TP-Link video. The routing has come a long way. OpenVPN full support coming, WireGuard full support coming, local DNS, etc. Yeah, coming. They've been saying that for a long time. We don't have a date yet, but one day. And the most secure firewall is definitely unplugged. Yes, for sure. Oh, and UniFi switches look sexy in the rack. We'll go with that. That's definitely true. UniFi switches are not expensive. Yeah, I would say not really. They're pretty reasonably priced for what they offer and what they have. I'll agree with that quite a bit. For dual WAN redundant IPsec on pfSense, would you rather use BGP or policy routing? I don't understand the question exactly. Post in the forums. Maybe I'll understand that question better. Policy routing is usually, I don't understand where you'd use BGP for dual WAN failover on that. Usually you just set it up redundantly for each one and have an entry. So 10 gig NIC for OpenSense, seeing the Chelsea on eBay for 120. Don't go too fancy, you disable offloads. Would you say a generally ideal situation for MSP would be UniFi switchgear managed by your host controllers, pfSense, OpenSense, and Fair managed by a common dashboard? Sure. I would say that's not a bad situation. Any Linux-based firewall. Almost all firewalls now are Linux-based or BSD. OpenSense and pfSense are both BSD-based. Seems like the doorbell's never in stock. Probably you're right about that. We'll go with the doorbell's not in stock. You did it a month ago and read a look at Cisco business switches. Have you had a chance to play with them yet? Nope, not yet. By the time they got me all the switches, and then I was out of town for a week. I've been so busy with some of the projects catching up on them. They're on my next week's list of things I'm going to do. Yeah, BGP and policy routing are two different things. That's why I don't understand the question. I see words, but I don't understand how they are related. What packages, modules have you got running on all your firewalls? OpenSense, WireGuard, yes, Acme client. It really depends on use cases. My firewall here. Did I close my shares? Oh no, it's over here now. Like we'll log into my firewall. What packages does Tom run on his firewall? Package manager. There we go. Zoom in a little, make it easier. So not many different things. I have iProf. I have NTOP on here. I forgot I even had it installed. OpenVPN, PF Blocker, which isn't even turned on right now, by the way. RRD, Service Watchdog, Traffic Totals. I don't remember. I loaded sudo because I was playing with something. I don't usually load sudo. I could probably just remove that right now if I wanted to. Definitely use WireGuard and I use xavix. The two I use, xavix common, that's for monitoring. PF Blocker hit and miss. NTOP, because I did a video on it. I did it by loading it here. And I was playing with the APC UPS plugin. So not a lot. We don't load a whole lot on there. So who's messaging me now? My wife. Let's see. UniFi air fiber definitely works really well, for sure. Have you ever deployed a wireless network setup in a park with a large public use? If so, common and most difficult parts of the setup: power, power, electricity. We've actually done a bunch of marinas. Um, the marinas are one of them, but we've done different ones. We did a couple public venues. Finding power at some of the locations and making sure they understand that we cannot install to places there's not power. They just start pointing at like any structure and like, hey, put a Wi-Fi access point on it. Is there electricity over there? Well, no. Okay. Then we have to have electricity, consistent electricity. And important security features that you turn on a Dream Machine SC out of the box, so they're not on by default. I think everything's on by default on there. So it's been a few months. Have you heard any rumors about anything what Psense Plus will offer? No. I mean, they have what do you call it? The latest one, I talked about one of their updates with the ZFS stuff. I did a video talking about that. It's just the other, and that's a Psense Plus feature. So I'm doing a live stream. So yeah, I don't really have any more thoughts on that. Let's see. Do you use HA proxy with Psense for reverse proxy, or do you have any other solution? Yeah, HA proxy works great. I've got a video on it. I don't really have another solution besides it. I guess I don't know. It depends on it comes down to use case. We don't set it up for very many people. Do you use Netbox for clients? Do you manage all your clients' IPs in a central location? No, that would be impractical for what we do and not necessary at all. If we use a USB drive and FreeNAS is degraded, is the drive still good for reinstall? If a USB drive is degraded, I don't install TrueNAS on a USB drive. They don't recommend that anymore. Rather UDMs in every site, UXGs are centrally controlled. 2 different routes you can go. We don't really use any UDM. We don't use any UDMs commercially. Nope, never used their solar gear. Never used any UniFi solar gear. I don't know if they're going away or not. I don't know what's happening with the solar stuff. I haven't looked in a long time. Zero tier, you need to register your website first, set up your network so it's not fully secure like VPN is. That's true. Zero tier does have Tailscale and Zero tier are both overlay networks. And if you don't own the controller that controls everything, then yes, you are letting someone else control the control plane of those and what devices can be added. Netbox is cool. If you have a data center, you need to manage IPs. Netbox is a cool tool for that. It even integrates into XCP-ng. You can do a full Netbox integration with it for IP management. It's a great tool. It just isn't necessary for. We're not managing people's data centers, I guess is what I should say. We don't have any large data centers that we currently manage. We manage businesses that have a bunch of Windows computers, and I don't need Netbox to manage those IP addresses. Even if they have, like 150 workstations, it's 150 workstations. DHCP is a wonderful thing. Besides PoE and 2.5 gig WAN, is there any reason to upgrade? Not really. If you don't need those things, then don't upgrade to it. You want to broadcast UDP message. You don't broadcast UDP messages across the network. That isn't how that works. I think you're asking it wrong. So I'm not exactly sure what the goal is. Start with what the goal is, what you're trying to figure out there. 4-port 1 gig network cards, those are great. So any Beyond Trust remote support? Nope, never used it. Is that company that's BombGuard? I've heard of BombGuard, but I've never used them, so I don't know much about them. How do you get pfSense, OpenSense, and a common dashboard? I don't know. I don't know any way to do it. TrueNAS on a USB writes too much, wears out, causing a fail. That's true. That's why they don't want you to use it anymore. I need to migrate my FreeNAS off the USB drives, at least for mirrored. Yes. Any good MFA option for OpenVPN on pfSense? Not really. I mean, they have TOTP, so you can do it that way. I think I have a video on it. Technically, when you have certificates set up with OpenVPN, that is a form of authentication because people can't just log into the VPN if you had my username and password to my VPN, you cannot log into it. You still need my certificate as well. So they have to get username, password, certificate. So there's your multiple factors of authentication. Certificates are a factor of authentication. Did you hire someone yet to help you produce more YouTube videos? Yes, I hired someone for my business technicalities channel. I still probably need. I haven't figured out how to have someone help me with this channel. Nothing is supported in pfSense. It sure is. Hey Tom, do you calculate the size UPS batteries? How long do you typically want servers to be on for? 10 minutes to shut them down. Maybe longer if possible. I always reach budget limits before I hit minute limits. So that's where the real problem is. Budget limits. Using a SATA DOM for TrueNAS server chassis if you're in tight space or low capacity. Yes, those work too. Yes, no. OpenVPN, and I don't know when this will come to. They have not answered me, and I asked in a forum publicly. I don't know when they're going to get OpenVPN TOTP properly implemented. By the way, it's implemented OpenVPN inside of pfSense. It's not there, but it does exist because Untangle has it. And there is an extra field for TOTP. Let me find the forums dot. Here, let's actually pull it up because I posted this publicly. So, is there a way for free radius using OpenVPN to get the TOTP code separate from the password? Separate from the password. And this is what the challenge is. Static challenge TOTP code equals 1. That's in the OpenVPN config. Sure would be nice. Hint, hint, hint. Can you give us the insight when this is done? And I posted this in June 25th of 2021. So it'll be a year ago in 9 days that I posted that question. So it can be done. It's not done inside of pfSense right now, as of I'm aware of. So I don't know when or if it will. So just so people know. Password is something you know, and certificate is something you have. What do you recommend for organizing, managing, monitoring multiple pfSense sites? We throw them in xavix if we want to monitor them. But you can also use SNMP monitoring with your like RM tool source SNMP, so we can monitor things with SNMP via that. So, do you have a list where you compare Synology, TrueNAS, and other storage solutions? I do have a Synology versus TrueNAS. I need to make a 2022 edition, but they're both relevant. The older version of my video is still relevant, like 99% of it. I've done a video on MikroTik. It's not a primary use case. MikroTik's not bad, but I don't use them much. They're affordable. I don't know if you can do that from a UDM. I use Netbox for documentation for my customers. Way easier to set up. How do you provide documentation? We use Rumble to map their network and make a map. TrueNAS Scale is runs smart testing, long test and scrub once per week. Is that too frequently? No, I don't. Smart testing twice per week seems a lot. I don't know. Whatever the default is what I leave it at. What preferred everyday piece of tech in your non-professional life? No tech. I like my motorcycle. So I don't really have any of. There's nothing. I guess my phone. This allows me to wander around. It's my Pixel phone. I don't know. I guess that is the one piece of tech I use the most, because sometimes I don't turn on any computers, but I still reply to a few messages on my phone. Where do you send your Invoice Ninja data to? Do you track expenses in there or just another platform? What do you mean, where do I send my data to? Oh, I use KMyMoney. I have a video on accounting workflow. So if you look up my accounting workflow video, people always ask about this. So if you type in, let me throw it back up on the screen here. There's a video I have right there. That's our business accounting workflow and open source tools we use. I have it all broken down. I even made a map so people can understand how money ingresses and transactions through my company. So that's the video on that topic. I'll throw it in here. Where's the share button? Share, copy. There you go. You can watch my accounting video. The SNMP monitoring is handled by your RMM tool, so it's done internally, not opening up SNMP. You don't want to open up SNMP to the world. Zero-tier friendly edit SSO authentication. Lots of enterprises can now adopt it. Yes. SNMP. Yes. With Synology moving their own drives, running any problems, Western Digital Reds or Iron Wolves, not Synology drives. I haven't really run into problems with it. Do you use xavix install for each customer? We just have it monitoring their firewalls, but mostly we're moving everything to our RMM, so it's in one dashboard instead of in something else. That's all of our goals. We need more financial ingress, less financial egress. Does Nextcloud support UDP for file transfers? I have no idea. I don't really use Nextcloud, so I'm not sure. Did I see this? Yes, I did. That was actually pretty cool. The Synology 60 bay thing. So let's find that real quick. I think they just tweeted it. I can find it from there. There we go. High density. What do you recommend if I want to build a SAN on my home network? TrueNAS. That's my go-to for a lot of it. Synology's good too. Seeing as I'm pulled it up here, I recommend this for your home network, the high density HD 6500. I've got videos on Synology and on TrueNAS because I like both of them. They're both good products. They both work well. This is a massive file server, main surveillance storage. So yeah, this is a pretty cool new product from them. Maybe Synology's watching. Maybe Synology will mail one to my office so I can review. I'm not way more advanced than anyone can be. I've been doing these gray hairs because I started my first tech job was in 1995. And yes, the Synology proprietary drives are for their enterprise solutions. That's true. They're bigger models. But yes. Uh any Unimis used for I don't know what Unimis is, but no. I've not used it because I don't know what it is. But I do know that this is cool. This is over read write DDR4. Look at all this fanciness. Consistent performance, 5 times the size. I don't know. This is pretty cool. I think it's cool that they're building some of these because we really like Synology. We've this is a solution we do deploy and are happy with our clients. So I'm not much younger than First tech job. Yeah, I don't think there's any Raspberry Pi integration with these ones. So I'm running ESXi at home, want to use external storage. ESXi works perfectly fine with both Synology and TrueNAS. If you go Synology, the NFS on Synology isn't as fast as iSCSI. So if you go Synology, go iSCSI. If you go TrueNAS, either one's fine. Does pfSense CARP or VRP make sense when you only have a single WAN? Not really, unless it's just something you want to learn. I'm still waiting for someone to come up with a long-term offline storage. I have a lot of photography studio clients. They are still using tape drive. For photography, I don't know. It feels like keeping that spinning would be fine, but I guess there's different ways. Thank you so much for the work. Awesome. I was born in 1999 and been in an MSP world for 4 years. Cool. You started early. Start young. Then when you decide you don't like the MSP world, you're still young enough to go do something else if you decide you don't like it. I don't know. I mean, MSP is a marketing term. It's not really defined yet. It's a great marketing to say we're a managed service provider, but that means different things to different people still because it's not there's not like an official book on that one. Yeah, the I want to get some tape drives for my home lab. I don't know. I need another rabbit trail. Yeah, I mean, my solution for the most part, I keep all my data that I love spinning all the time. That way I don't worry about bit rot or unrecoverability or archiving. The only people that's a challenge for has been, and where the money's coming in to play a role in that, is people in the movie industry. We work with them, and they just have one of our latest clients has 5 large, Storinator XL60s and going to buy more for their new office. They have 5 of them because that's where all the movies live. And yeah, we really love the Storinators for things like that because they're a good cost-effective way to do storage and editing. And that's what this is running on too. This is actually my Storinator at my office, and the challenge we're running into is just replicating all of it. This one's new, so it's got plenty of available space. Our pool has about 239 239 terabytes still free in it, so we still got some room to grow, but we're growing. So, and all the videos I do, actually, they are not here yet. My studio is physically separate from this, so I actually bring a drive, and once a month I do a dump for everything I created here gets moved to here. This is my long-term storage for everything, and then we send it up to Backblaze, so we have a duplicated copy. Because our challenge is like, how much do we want to keep hot on site and how much do we want to keep in Backblaze? Because if we need to get it back from Backblaze, that's going to take a long time. So right now it's just going to Backblaze and it's good. So do you have a video showing you Synology of VM for XCP&G via fiber channel? Nope, I do not have any fiber channel videos. Hello from Italy. Unis is awesome. It's config backup with some basic automation. Oh, that's like that. There's another automation tool for config management called like Rancid. And there's a few of them out there that are open source ones. There's let me find it real quick. Firewall? We just have trouble finding it. It's got a weird name. Yeah, well, I can't find it. It's got some name like Rancid. I can't remember the name of it now. Linus did a video about bit rottener storinators. Yeah, if you don't have it, Rancid and Oxidized. I knew some. If I say it, the brain trust that is this live audience will definitely throw it out there. Yeah, Rancid and Oxidized. We'll throw a link up for people. Oh, Oxidized is a network device current backup tool and replacement. So yes, this is the one I was talking about. Unraid doesn't scale in performance, so I don't have really any interest in using Unraid. People seem really happy with it. It's got a great community of people that use it, but yeah, the scalability of it and speed of it is definitely where the big hangups are. Do you know Dell PowerFlex Storage? Have you used it? Nope, I've not used Dell PowerFlex Storage. You could do Ansible. You could actually just set up Ansible to go in and grab the config files. Never used Xpenology. Yeah, people seem happy with Unraid. The only time we've had unhappy people is when people are looking for performance. Someone's using it and they realize some of the performance limitations of it. And it's just the way it's architected. It's not. It's a flexible storage server, not a high speed storage server. But it's usually fast enough for what people want to do. That's the important part. Is it fast enough for what they want to accomplish? That's what matters. Thanks for your video. Oh, okay. From France, and you have a C64 and Amiga, and starting with Usenet, so before the internet. Oh, yes, the before the internet times. I was dialing into the BBSs back then. Yeah, the flexibility is usually what sells people on Unraid. I mean, it's flexible. You can just dynamically add disks. Awesome. That's definitely a feature people like. So, all right, I'm going to wind this down. What are the other things people want to know? Unraid is good for a Plex server. It spins up a drive when you want something to save a little power. Yeah, that's a thing too. Save a few bucks with electricity, spinning down some drives. I don't know how much it really saves. Drives are pretty low wattage. See 14. So here's we'll pull this up real quick because someone will try to call me on it, but I want to point this out. Somewhere in these specs. There we go. So if you look here, this is a 14 terabyte, 7,200 RPM drive. It idles at 5 watts, average is 8 watts. So, yeah, it's not, they don't pull the drives are, I mean, yeah, that adds up. 10 drives, is going to be 80 watts. So yes, if the average power consumption is about 8 watts, 10 drives is going to cost you 80 watts. But if you have 10, 14 terabyte drives, it depends on how much power is. So, oh yeah, smash the like button. There's still 198 people here, but only 59 likes. So definitely, if we could smash that like button, that'd be great. What is your recommended shared store for an XGBNG pool? TrueNAS with NFS. That's all the shared storage we have in ours. NFS storage, like this particular one, we've got 33 drives in that one. How much is in it? We have more than one of these in here. 18 more drives, 18 more VDIs in this one. But yeah, this is all NFS storage. NFS is mostly what we use. So type NFS, and you can see this is attached to that server I was logged into based on how much free data there is on there. We don't set any quota limits because we're not likely to hit them. I should be able to go to there. Oh, there's less. There's 54 I deleted a few VMs. So, but yeah, most all of our storage is going to be NFS. I have a large ESXi server, home lab, Psense box, built NAS, Synology, all my network gear. I pull right up at 200 watt, running everything. Yeah, you can be reasonable on it. Any views on wireless access point solutions? I like UniFi for wireless access points. Can XCP do LACP for more bandwidth? Yes, it can. If we go over here to the pool lab network, you can do bonded network. You just select all the interfaces. So if we wanted to make a bond with a pair of 10 gig interfaces, you can. And there's your LACP. So it can be created. I'm not clicking create because this will break things because these are not set to be bonded. But yes, it does support it. Can you use a single ZFS pool for all VM storage and execution partition same disks? No, I don't think there's a way to do that. But there might be some way to do it. I'm not aware of any way to do it. If you're hosting Windows machines, don't you need iSCSI instead of NFS? No, you can. The Windows VMs can be on NFS. I don't know why you would need it. I mean, unless you wanted to present iSCSI to the Windows machine for storage, that's a different use case. Largest deployment? I don't know. A couple data centers. I think we had one. You know what? We did have that one client I mentioned. I think they had 2,100 virtual machines. I forget how many hosts they had. A lot, but 2,100 virtual machines overall. Proxmox replication from VMsphere? I don't know that it can replicate from. Did UniFi fix the issue with IoT? Since my first UniFi equipment just came in, I need to figure out how I'm going to do my home automation. I don't know what issue you're having, so I don't know. The Windows VMs would know, and if they were just there, that's just where the VMs live. Right, that's correct. What's a good solution for VPN for remote office? We're going to go with Openvpn. Openvpn is pretty much the one out there. So it's got the user management in it. Even, we integrate it to people's Active Directory list they have. So it's generally our go-to VPN solution. Yeah. People ask if they have an issue. This is why I have my forums. And I always encourage people, and I'll see as I'm winding this down, people want to know how to connect with me. I always remind them, forums. This is where we can have a more in-depth discussion about the questions, because you only get so much of a question, and I can only reply so articulate. I'll give a usually better answer or some links and references when you head over to forums.lawrencesystems.com. WireGuard is not used in the office much because it doesn't have good user management. I don't think there's anything that for not that's free and open source that does app delivery. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not a Mariner, so I don't really have any knack recommendations. Not sure you mean I have any issues IoT devices. Yeah, they work fine for me. I mean, my IoT stuff's connected to it, so tried joining your forum warning was rejected for spam. How do I appeal? DM me on Twitter and let me know. Here's what I do. This is really simple. I go and I do email blacklist check. And if you're on the email blacklist, that's it for you. I have too many spammers trying to join all the time. And I just pop the domains they come from in here. If you're on the spam list, then I just reject it because the spammers love my forums. That's the success of my forums, is the fact that I have spammers getting on there. So this is the solution I have, is to just do a blacklist check. If you're on a blacklist, you should work on getting off of it unless you're legitimately a spammer. So, but yeah, I don't know. I've never tried the OpenVPN on an ARM and Mac. I don't know how well it works. Is there a way to assign a pool to a VPN group in OpenVPN? What pool would you assign? I'm ITV VPN accounting group gets a subnet for there. You do. There's ways to do it with free radius. You can. Yeah, a little tricky, but you can just do IP assignments through free radius, so they get exactly where they go. If there's an that way, if they have a different subnet, you can put them on there. You tie it to free radius, and then you put the subnet within free radius for things. I've never used Nex. Nest Wi-Fi behind PfSense. Never tried it. OpenVPN and Mac works great. But, okay, someone says it does work great with the ARM. Okay, cool. Radius server is a server that can. Yeah, we'll pull it up. Google it if you actually. It's free Radius, so free Radius. There we go. I'll send you a link to it. So for those of you who don't want to know what it is, fast featured, modular, and scalable. Get started with most widely deployed Radius server. It's funny they actually don't define what Radius server is here, but a Google search will define that better than me. Spammer saw your last Homeland video, got a spammer, so yes, they love Tom. Yes, they do. Yeah, they certainly and they like the forums because they want to post their software, their garbage. They do like blog looking posts. I delete them. I'm there, and it's rare they get through. Once in a while they set up a Gmail address, and I'll get a new user with Gmail, and then they post stupid links to dumb software sites and things like that. This is the best game I've ever played. Like stuff like, it's really silly. And so out of context in my forums, I don't think they get any clicks, but they're hoping no one's moderating the forums and sees that and deletes it. So also the user base of people I have on the forums have been really good about flagging the moment something like gets posts. So to everyone, and maybe many of you here that have joined my forums, thank you, because you make the job a lot easier, because I'll log in and see flagged posts and be like, oh yeah, I just gotta get rid of these. Uh, Mac has emulation for non-ARM programs. Oh, okay. That I've not used the Mac ARM stuff, so I don't know much about it. I heard it's fast. All right. Well, I'm going to wander off because I have a few other things I'm going to go do. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for this last hour. As I said, head over to the forums. And if you got rejected from the forums, DM me on Twitter or get yourself off the blacklist. That's the best thing you can do. Get off the blacklist. Or maybe you're a spammer and you thought to contact me in the forums. I don't know how to validate that at some point. Give you access provisionally. I'm not even sure. So there you go. Authentication, authorization, and accounting. That is correct. That is the shortest way to define what the Radius server does in the fewest words. So that's definitely good. But thank you everyone for joining. I'm looking forward to doing this again next Thursday. If I feel really inspired, I'll do it again on Saturday. I haven't done a Saturday one in a little while, Saturday or Sunday. So absolutely. There is no pizza request for today. No, he's hanging out with his sister today. So no pizza request. You all are a pro. Go the LR. The LRs are really nice. They definitely have the reach. So unblock me and you'll never see what, yeah, you'll never believe what happens next. Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Check out the links I said, check out the UniFi stuff. Leave some comments and your thoughts down below or head to the forums for a more in-depth discussion. Ooh, hot sauce today and merch. Yeah, I need merch, right? So yeah, I got to work on merch. That's actually on my to-do list. I got to make some more shirts. I haven't made any new shirts in a while. So, all right, thanks. Before I get distracted again.